All righty, like I said, you YouTube viewers, bear with us where we go live onto Facebook Live already. Okay, just making sure that we got everything and see everything moving. Okay, cool. Now we are going to go. Okay, Facebook Live. All right. Thank y'all out there in YouTube land for bearing with us. Most of our viewers are on Facebook Live. Now we're Facebook Live.
Who's that voice in the song? Is that a female?
No, that's Alicia Reynolds.
Oh.
That's God, you may get it. L.J. Reynolds of the Dramatics niece.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she wrote this song for me. Let's do what they say. Baby. 1970 to the ground. I'm your host. My name is Bryan Foley. And we listened to my theme song this morning. It's called Power to the People. That was written and produced and sung by Miss Alicia Reynolds, Anthony Larkin, as well as myself. And the reason why I was re-informing you of that, I'm sitting up in here with a candidate for county commissioner, state representative. I'm sorry, I did it again. Yeah, State Representative Jimmy Wilson. And he asked me who was that, and I told him who that was. And also, I was with Miss Lavisa Brown yesterday. Lavisa told me, she said, Bryan, I like that song. Where you get that from? I said, that's my song. She said, no, it ain't. And I played it for her. I said, listen to the lyrics. And she didn't know that was me in the background. And then I said, you actually heard my name in there. But anyway, I got candidate for state representative, Ypsilanti trustee, Mr. Jimmy Wilson in the studio this morning. And I want to say good morning, first of all, to all of our viewers out there in Facebook Live, as well as YouTube, and just welcome you this morning and what have you. You're onto the show, and I'm going to steal this moniker right there. This is the one podcast that they don't want you to see. Now, you may have heard somebody say that before, and that's my good friend, Mr. Sam Reynolds, who is now running for 13th District Congressperson out in the Detroit area. And he came off the air right now, and that's what he used to tell everybody. This is the one show that they don't want you to see. So I'm gonna steal that from Sam right now until he come back on the air, and welcome everybody out here. And I wish Sam all the well as he represents our community in the 13th District out there. And like I said, I have Ypsilanti trustee, Mr. Jimmy Wilson, on this morning. And how you doing, this brother, today, Brother Wilson?
Pretty good.
Okay.
How about yourself? Man,
I am doing great, man, in the audience. Excuse me, sitting right here. I've been sitting here for a long time, so I got a little stiff, so y'all bear with me, everything. Before we get started, we would like everybody to, first of all, share this video. We would like you to put Y1 in the comments. Why do I ask them to put Y1, Jimmy? Because I believe Ypsilanti first is what I believe. I believe in hometown first. And then number two, we ask you to hit like, share, Y1 in the comments. And what that does, that stimulates the algorithm. And so we can get this information out, because this program, this show is dedicated to getting information out to the community. That is what Ear to the Ground 197 is to let people know what's going on in the community. And I want to thank you, Brother Wilson, for taking the call late. The reason why I say that is because if those of you who have seen the advertisement, I was supposed to have attorney Robin McCoy on the show this morning, and she sent me a text late one night last week saying that she had a scheduling problem. And what she decided to do was she canceled to come on this show to go to another event. And hey, it is what it is. You get what I'm saying? If you feel as though that you need to be on somewhere else other than letting the people know in 48197, 48198 who you are and what to have you to offer this community, more power to you. So I thank Jimmy Wilson Jr. for taking the call late for coming in. I'm getting texts across the screen right now, Brother Wilson. We had another shooting last night. Young brother got killed. Just got a text across the screen from not only my sister, but I got one from Sheriff Representative Community Outreach Coordinator Derek Jackson. So we ask that y'all give a prayer, a thought, affirmation, whatever it is that you do, that we can engage and do something harm reduction in what we got going on in this community. And you and I are a member of various groups that are actively trying to engage in that. You know what I'm saying? Also,
did it say what community it was in, or what?
It actually said it was at the Dairy Mart on Textile Road.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so that's what it says. I'm looking at these texts coming across right here, and like I said, this is Derek Jackson. Keeps me informed on the information of what's going on. I appreciate the community leaders out there, elected officials, who make a conscious decision to reach out to me, reach out to this program, and let us know, Ear to the Ground 197, what's going on. I don't get that from all of our elected officials. I don't get that. Some folks, I'm not even trying to go there. I got emails sent out to elected officials that still haven't returned the emails. But persons like yourself, Brother Wilson, I can call you up and you answer the phone. If you don't answer the phone, you call me back. If you don't answer the phone, you actually send a text. Can I call you later? And I appreciate that. And I get that respect from persons such as Senator Jeff Irwin, Attorney Eli Savitt, Assistant Prosecutor Victoria Burton Harris, Annie Somerville, Nicole Brown. I could go on and on and on. Those are just some. But some folks, for whatever reason, don't feel as though this community is important enough that you respond back. So that's why I'm kind of like, I had a whole spiel that I was going to hit right now, especially since Sam done left the airway. I kind of wanted to fill that void of sharing with the people exactly not only what's going on, but what ain't going on. Who doing what and who ain't doing what. Right. But we're going to deal with that maybe on a different broadcast. You here to share with us why my community, our community, 48197, 48198, the area that you represent, why we should elect Jimmy Wilson Jr. to be our next state representative. So, brother, I'm gonna get off the spiel for a minute, get off my soapbox for a minute, and let the folks hear from you. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
First of all, good brother, we already said that. But what's going on? How you feeling this morning?
Feel real good.
Feel good?
Yeah, weather's good. We're finally in the summer months here.
Yeah.
And I feel good. I'm glad you allowed me this space to come and talk to the people.
Yeah, you know, the space is welcome, not only to, because as of right today, I endorse you. You get what I mean? And that's been a long time ago. I've endorsed you. However, this space, that chair is available for folks who I may not support or endorse. But the chair and the space is open and available to you.
Right. You've always been fair.
I've been fair. Yeah. Right. I've been fair.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall Averill, he'll be over in here in the next couple of weeks or so. And he's one of your opposition, one of your opponents. Mm-hmm. He has the same opportunity to come sit in that chair. Right. And brother, tell me why I should vote for you and no longer support and endorse Jimmy Wilson Jr. Mm-hmm. Well, that being said, good brother, why should I vote for you, man? You tell them why I supported you, why I endorsed you. You tell the people themselves.
Okay, go ahead, brother. A whole bunch of reasons, but one key thing you just mentioned is the fact that I'm accessible. Mm-hmm. I don't run away from tough conversations. I don't run away from different things that community wants to talk about. Mm-hmm. You can call me, text me, email, and I have a whole lot of folks that can vouch for that as well. So when I get elected as a state representative, you'll actually be able to reach out to me and we can actually have this dialogue. And I plan to have many community events to really bring the people together in that unity. But outside of that, being from this community, a lifelong member of this Ypsilanti community, born and raised here, had never really left. Yeah. I'm raising my family here now. Mm-hmm. I worship here, I work here, my kids go in public schools here. We have always been Ypsilanti. Mm-hmm. And so kind of having that background, understand a little bit of history of this community, understanding the issues of the community, I think is very important. Also being the only elected official who's running for this particular office. I think we got 6 people running. I'm the only one that's been elected so far. And why I think that matters is experience matters. Mm-hmm. I understand how local government operates. I understand how these governmental entities should be working together. And so taking this to a higher office, I can really hit the ground running in Lansing. Yeah. Now you said you know how this how the process works already. How do you know how the process works already? You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. How do you know how it works already? Tell us that. Yeah. So I was elected in 2016 as a Ypsilanti Township trustee, and I was reelected by the people in 2020. Mm-hmm. So I got 6 years of local government experience, but I've also made sure I keep contact with the other municipalities around me, because I understand that my local municipality, Ypsilanti Township, may not always, we're not perfect. And so I always need to make sure I'm looking at what other communities are doing. How can we implement some of this over here? How can we get rid of certain things? So I've always been paying attention to what Ypsilanti City's doing, Superior Township and Pittsfield Township, which are in this state representative district. So I think that that alone also encompasses the entire knowledge base that I have coming into this. Yeah, because you said something that's very near and dear to my heart right now. What you said is that you're from this community. Right? You was born here, you was raised in this community. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, right? Over what we used to call the townhouses back in the day. Yeah, right? I was in the white townhouse. In the white townhouses, you get what I'm saying? And let me say this right here. Because we have a familiarity between each other, trust me, I don't know this brother. I just met him when he became trustee or was running for trustee. Right. So even though this is one of my homeboys, this ain't one of my homeboys. Right. So I'm not sitting up here selecting somebody just because they from the community, because I've done that for too many years, and we've done that for too many years, selecting somebody based upon because they're from here. Mm-hmm. But OJ sang this song. He said, your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town. You get what I mean? Right. And we got a lot of officials, you get what I'm saying? Your body is over here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town. Because it shows the way that when you respond to the community, when the community calls for you. Right. It shows in the legislation that you have not passed to better the community that you call your home. Mm-hmm. I can show and show what people who have done, who are from outside of this community,
I can actually write down and show what they have done
Right.
when they came in this community. But some of our own people, hey, I like my viewers out there. You pick a local official. I don't care which one it is. Pick a local official, and what I want y'all to write in the comment box, what your local elected official who represents you has done for this community. They ain't talking about what they done on the state level or what they signed on or what bill they endorsed or signed on to. What have you introduced? And then what have you done exclusively for the people that you claim to represent? You claim to say this is your hometown. Show me what you have done for 197.
Right.
So we can't no longer go on just because somebody is from this town, this community, that you have our best interests.
Right.
Yeah. No, your body here, mine, is on the side somewhere else. And it shows. It shows where you put your money at. Shows who you run with. Yeah. Birds of a feather flock together.
Exactly.
Okay. And we can't no longer be, I wish we're going to have a show, a 2-part series. We're going to be doing this lately. We're going to have a 2-part series. I'm going to have good brother Karan Gaines on the show. And we was going to break down tricknology, politics. And he had to go to work today.
Okay.
He got called in. But he had the coup, he had the wherewithal, he had the audacity to say to me, hey, good brother, I'm not being able to make it. But can we do it later on today? He actually tried to reschedule.
Yeah, he wanted to reschedule.
Yeah, he wanted to reschedule.
Okay.
I just got somebody saying I ain't gonna be there. I got somewhere else to go.
No reschedule.
Anyway, you see I'm kind of fired up this morning. Okay, now I asked Brother Jimmy Wilson to come on the show. All right, good brother. So I'm gonna ask you a question, man. What 48197-481? Let me ask you this first of all. Let's back up a little bit for those who may not know. What is the responsibilities and duties of a state representative?
So you think of your city council folks, you have tax revenues coming in,
okay,
and you need to decide how these funds need to be allocated. That's going to best help your community. So now you think of your state representative, 110 state house members with the same function. State revenues are coming in. You need to best decide how these funds are going to help best not only the state of Michigan, but specifically the district that you're in. So similar concept. However, as a state representative, you really need to be tuned into your entire district. What are the needs of this nonprofit over here? What are the needs of these colleges right here? What are the needs of this public school system right here? What are the needs of the actual people in the communities and the neighborhoods? And being able to advocate for that at the state level as budget time are coming in, and we need to get certain allocations in there for this part of your district and this line item. But also a state representative needs to be somebody who can bring folks together, because I won't be able to do everything on my own. I'm not going to make no promise I'm about to go and just tackle the world. But what I can say is I'm work hard for that and make sure I'm bringing everyone to the table. So like right now, we got a project, we're trying to get a community center. It's going to be essential for your state representative to bring partners to the table. Maybe the state can't fund it all. Maybe the city can't fund it all. The township can't fund it all. The nonprofits can't fund it all. But if you bring them all to the table, now we might have enough funds to get this done. And I think that is very important, that as a state representative, that I will be able to bring folks together and unite us like that.
Yeah, thank you. Now, I've heard talk about this proposed community center. Like I said, we're a member of one particular group, and you know, like I said, we have a code of ethics with that group, and our code of ethics is what was said in this meeting stays in this meeting, and so we make sure we hold to that. And it's a group of respectable, responsible brothers in this group who are trying to better the community. But the community center that we're talking about, where will be the physical? Have you already chosen a physical location that you're thinking of? The reason why I asked that is because some people don't understand, and we're going to get in that. We have 4 different entities of government that make up the community that we call Ypsilanti. We have, and this is right here, we have our apartment cards, right? We got Pittsfield Township, City of Ypsilanti, Superior Township, and Ypsilanti Township. So when people say it's going in Ypsilanti, it could be actually in Pittsfield Township, and they don't understand that. So especially where's the location that we're looking at, if you will?
There's a there's been a few areas of Ypsilanti, 48197, 48198 that have been discussed, but there's one specific location right now that they're really trying to hone in on. I believe the Superior Township Board of Trustees with YMCA trying to figure out the funding. But the old Cheney Elementary is the location that they're eyeing to try to get something over in that area, which would provide community center for Sycamore Meadows, Danbury Green, that part. And also some of Ypsi Township would benefit from that too. And a little piece of Ypsi City would also benefit. It's kind of a good centralized location.
Okay. There's some, let me hit on this right here. There's some brothers in our community who don't see the value in a community center.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Oh,
man.
man.
So let me tell you something, man.
Oh, I never talked to them.
Yeah.
I
Let
didn't
me
know
tell
they
you.
exist.
Oh man, boy, let me tell you something. You know what I've done, the efforts that we have done to get the basketball court at Park Ridge Community Center.
Mhm.
The efforts we have done to receive the $50,000 from State Senator Jeff Irwin through the advocacy of Annie Somerville, who's also running for county commissioner,
Mhm.
right? To get the $50,000 for the softball diamond, which is in the bank at the city of Ypsilanti. I was talking with the Department of Public Works Director, Ron Akers, just as recent as this week, and he was sharing with me the progress on that. But anyway, there's some other things going on too, and I'm gonna leak something out to you right here, right? But anyway, it's some brothers, respectable brothers, elected brothers, who said that a new baseball diamond is a waste of money for Park Ridge Park. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's some brothers around here who say that a community center is a waste of money and it ain't gonna do nothing. Real talk.
Wow.
So I'm gonna ask you in your own words, what's the importance of the community having a community center? You get what I'm saying?
Well, you just mentioned earlier about some more gun violence, right?
Yeah, somebody got killed.
Yeah.
Brother got killed.
I'll give you a perfect example, just a little background about myself. So I grew up, even though I spent about 7-8 years on the south side in white townhouses, I grew up majority in West Willow. Now, we had used to be a school over there, well, elementary school. I think it was West Willow Elementary or something like that. And it closed down. A church purchased it, but they started opening it up a few days a week for the kids to come in and treated it as a community center. This is early 90s, mid 90s. And I'm over on Jeff Street and I was able to ride my bike right over to the community center. I'm in there playing basketball and then shooting a little pool and all this stuff. Meanwhile, in my same household, I had a family member who kind of went in a different direction. Some of the gang activity that was in the 90s, right? But I had that avenue, I had that community center that allowed me to channel my energy in a different way. And if that wasn't there, I might have been out there doing the same things that my sibling was doing. Also, we had the Boys and Girls Club out here in Ypsi City.
Which I'm a product of, right?
Yeah, and I was able to come over here and play on the baseball diamond in the softball field. That was probably the first time I actually played baseball, actually, was at Boys and Girls Club. But you got to have that to allow these children and teenagers to have some other avenue to release that energy and to be a part of their community. If you don't have that, now they're gonna find something to get into.
They will find
What
something.
do you want them to be getting into?
Right.
Guns, or at the community center playing basketball, shooting pool, whatever they have options there, softball fields. They might even have some STEM education there. You can get all kinds of programming into these community centers. So I'd love to talk to them individuals who don't think that a community center or a softball diamond isn't going to help the community.
You know, I'm gonna tell you, ear to the ground 197. It's kind of hard to toe the principles of ear to the ground 197 when you're the one who set up the guidelines and you're the one who set up what you're not going to do on this show. And this is not the call them out show. You get what I mean? This is not the call them out show. And I've been brought to task on the table by a few people in the community. Brother Foley, if you want to call yourself ear to the ground, then you not only just can't share the information, you got to share and clear up the misinformation and share what your elected officials are doing. Your administrative also too. Let's put it that way on too. So we're just not saying that. Your church leaders also too. You have responsibility on this program to share not just the good and information, but you got to share, as what me and Karan Gaines was going to get on today, the politics and the technology and the stuff that isn't been done for our community. So it's kind of hard to toe the line when you set up the own principles that this ain't the Call 'em Out show. But folks have tell me, they say, bro, you got the information, you know what's going on. How come you ain't using your platform to call them out? And I'm gonna share with you why I set those guidelines up first. I set those guidelines up is because we live in a system which is called racism, which is systematic or systemic white supremacy, okay? And I know as Black people, and you being a Black person, we are the first victims of systemic racism. So we have a lot of hurdles, a lot of obstacles that we have to overcome. And the last thing that I want to be as a person who's racially classified as Black is to be someone who's pointing the fingers, knocking down, chastising, and trying to embarrass, call out Black people when we are products of this society. We need to unify and better ourselves and build partnerships and coalitions and come on one accord to better us all. That's a hard thing to do when some of the persons who are supposed to be responsible and advocating for you, their body's here, but their mind on the other side of town. So a lot of times, and you hear me on this show right here, I keep my mouth shut. It's getting hard to do, Jimmy. Getting hard to do. But anyway, it's getting harder and harder, man. You get what I'm saying? Especially when they targeting you and targeting your organization. It's real conversation right there. Okay. And I got the receipts of everything what I'm saying. I ain't just talking. I got the receipts, paperwork.
This is why elections matter.
This is why elections matter.
And who was your elected officials? Yeah. Kind of like Ipsy Can I Share. You know, they let you know who your elected officials are and call them, email them, contact them. And ask them some of these tough questions. Right. Maybe they can actually ask some of the questions you're at. Hey, was you one of these?
One of these.
You know, did you do this? You know, call them.
Or did you not do that?
Or did you not do that? What side are you on the fence? Are you with this particular subject?
Yeah. So this right here is what you're talking about. Ipsy Can I Share? These are our empowerment cards. I say our because I'm one who came up to name Ipsy Can I Share. I'm a founding member of the organization, and our organization is simply to disseminate information, who your elected officials are, right here on our Ypsilanti Township one. There's your name right there at the top. Not at the top, excuse me. It's on here. Brenda Stumple, supervisor, treasurer, Stan Eldridge, clerk, Heather Jarrell Rowe. Then we go further down to the trustees, and here you are. And your phone numbers, your emails on there. So that email is not the email that somebody should be contacting you regarding, or am I correct? No, I'm positive not. This isn't the email that somebody should be utilizing to contact you via email, but is this the phone number that somebody can use? Okay. So if you want to contact Trustee Jimmy Wilson for trustee business, you can reach him at 734-899-0230. That's correct. Or you can email him when it comes to trustee Ypsilanti Township business at jwilson@ytown.org. Correct. That's jwilson@ytown.org, dealing with issues in the trustee. Do you have another means of access or communication dealing with your campaign? Yes. Okay.
So anything outside of government business, you can call 734-999-0049, or you can email me at jimmywilsonjr.com, jimmywilsonjr@gmail.com.
Okay.
Now the website is actually jimmywilsonjr.com.
Okay. Now, you know, I'm a decent looking brother, but I'm old. Okay.
Season.
So I got some seasoned folks tuning in. Give that to them one more time. Okay. Kind of slow. Yeah.
734-999-0049. And the email address is Jimmy, Jimmie, Wilson Jr. @gmail.com.
All righty, there you got it straight from Brother Wilson. Let's continue on a little bit of conversation about the proposed Community Center.
Okay.
And you were talking about the Boys Club, right? The Boys Club, many of us are products of the Boys Club. The Boys Club gave us an outlet, not just to play basketball, pool. What did we have? Basketball, we had pool, we played flag football out there. When I went to the Boys Club, we was at the house on the top of the hill. It's called Gilbert House, right? Gilbert Residences, that was that family right there. But I remember we had this big slot car track up there, bumper pool table. We did everything, man. And our parents could literally drop us off there.
Yeah. Yep.
And we'd be gone all day. You get what I mean?
Know that we were safe.
We were safe, right? So I'm glad to hear that you're on the forefront, spearheading a advocate of getting our young men and women a place where they can have an outlet, you know. But the word in community center, right? The active workers there, community is our common unity, right? So right now we have our common unity, or should be the betterment of each other, right? But we have a culture problem out here right now. You know, we actually have a death culture, you know, where it seems like our young men and women are in a hurry to get to the grave, or hurry to bring harm to themselves or another individual, right? So as an elected official, you know, we have, we're a member of organizations that's dealing with crime preventive measures, what have you, anti-violence, anti-gun, and what have you. And I want to go somewhere else too with that while we're on it. Anti-gun measures and violence and stuff like that. As a state representative, right? What at the state level could you do to assist communities such as ours in bringing harm reduction, violence reduction, substance abuse, mental health? What could you do at that level? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I would say that two different things there. You talked about the violence intervention. We have a lot of groups right now that are trying to interrupt some of this violence and get more involved in it. But at the end of the day, it comes down to some money. I mean, you want people to volunteer a little bit, right? But at some point, people need to get paid.
Yes.
It also is going to take, if there's some programming involved, that's going to cost money. So from a state level, there's currently some funds available, American Rescue Plan funds on the state level that could actually pay for some of these programs. Obviously, our county has some, and our local municipalities have some of that same money. From a state level, we could be helping fund some of these projects. So that's one piece. The other piece you mentioned was mental health.
Yes.
And that's actually a big part of my platform is making sure we get more funding into our community mental health. I've talked to so many people in the community that there's not enough access to mental health services. Sometimes when they call a number, it runs them around a lot of red tape, and we need to have more accessible mental health services available in this county, but specifically in 48197, 48198. We already knew this before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, but now since this pandemic, we know that this has been exacerbated and increased so much. We have to really address that and make sure that services are available.
Yeah, and what we have to do also is remove the stigma of mental health. Right. Because so many times we associate mental health with, unfortunately, what we've seen on TV and those negative words like the person's crazy or something like that. You get what I mean? But depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, even a sleeping disorder, right? Those affect our mental health. It's your process of thinking is what we're trying to assist in. And so many of our members of our community are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's been handed down from generation to generation, which is what used to be called a generational curse. Now, if we remove the word curse, because that puts a spook into it, but we go all the way back, and we can go all the way back to when we first encountered the first Europeans and the first Eurasians and the first those of the, I don't want to use that term too loosely, of Arabs when they first came in and colonized Africa and then placed us into physical chains and bondage in chattel slavery, what have you.
Right.
We can go all the way back to that and see that what our people and our communities are experiencing, are a chain effect of what happened a long time ago. And we won't address that. There's a lot of things that come on the table that we want to discuss, but we won't address the number one root cause of that trauma, which is racism, white supremacy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people who are at our tables, I was at a group meeting the other day of people who are not representative of us, but they seem to have all the best ideals for us, not understanding that you are still the root cause of our problem. Even your programming don't work because you come in with an ideology that you have a superior mentality and some kind of way that people are racially classified as Black are subhumans, and you approach us in that way. So you may appear as though that you have sympathy, and you do, but you don't have the empathy. And then one of our young men begin to act out on what they're at, then you want to start calling him a violent young man, an angry young man. And then the next thing he does, he ends up in the system from the same system that you called yourself trying to protect him from. Right. And this is why we continue to have this vicious cycle that we're dealing right now. So talking about the issues of mental health and substance abuse issues, until we address that directly, we're going to continue to have this vicious cycle that we have. So what we do know is, that there are organizations, grassroots organizations, who are products of this environment, right, who understand it and understand what it takes to traverse these obstacles, these hills, these mountains, valleys, and what have you, and they're best equipped to address the issues in our community because they have experienced this firsthand. However, when you talk about giving up the money, it seems as though the usual suspects are the one who always keep getting funding, refunding, and funding again. Mm-hmm. And as I attend these various groups right here, they claim here that they're here to help, but then they're only here to continue to receive the grants and then to continue to perpetuate this cycle of violence. But anyway, I'm sorry about that, brother. You know, it's one of the days.
I wanted to make sure I also mentioned you had talked about substance abuse.
Yes.
And so talking about substance abuse as well as mental health, you know, back in prior to the Engler days, Governor Engler's days, we had beds available for mental health. We had beds available for substance abuse. And then as his administration was around, 8 years or so, they dismantled a lot of the beds that were available at that time. We kind of need to get back to that in the sense of some folks need that period of time to get out of their environment.
Yes.
Because if you just say, here's some medicine and then going back home, and now they back into the situation again, and they in the environment, it's hard to get out of that you're in that rut and you can't get out. But sometimes you need a space to be available to just stay out of it. Let me get my mind right. I got some people here to help me. Okay, thank you. And then transition back into either that particular environment, or maybe while you're there, we transition you into a different type of environment. But you got to have that time period, that little space, and we don't have that a lot here in Washington County right now.
You know, I never looked at that missing beds, which you were talking about, right? That allowed you an opportunity to remove from a toxic environment was time and space to give you opportunity to heal. You know what I mean? Right. But I've always told people, and I tell this all the time, with time and space and resources, our community can heal. Yeah. And we need time and space just to heal. And sometimes we have to remove ourselves from the dominant culture and their ideology and their way of thinking and doing things and get back to our culture. And the only way we can do that is through time and space. And we will heal, provided we're given the resources. We're taxpayers. I don't care if you on Section 8. I don't care if you rent an apartment. You are a taxpayer because so that money is that funds this and fuels this government, you pay into it whether you understand it or not. Right. And because you pay into it, you have a responsibility to have the same access to the same resources as any other taxpayer. And the government has a responsibility to make sure that those taxes in a democracy, in a democratic society, are dispensed and sent down to the same levels to help the least amongst us as you do the most amongst us. And I'm a firm believer, if you help the least amongst you get better, get better, so will the better amongst you. So it's a win-win situation. Instead, what we have is a bunch of selfish people who are hoarding all the resources, and a bunch of selfish people, a bunch of selfish nonprofit organizations who every time money comes from the government, they the ones standing in line and they're refueled and refunded again because their elected officials make sure that those people get the money and get the most of it first.
So this is another reason why when those funds became available from the county for community organizations, I got on the phone, started making calls to some of those community organizations, making sure that they knew about it. And some of them didn't know about it. You know, I think I called you. I said, "Did you know it's available? Right. The application process is open. If you're interested, but you already knew about it." And then I called some other folks. Some of them didn't know. And so I always try to make sure we're spreading the wealth, making sure even our grassroots folks are getting taken care of. Because really, they're doing a lot of the work. Honestly, they're the boots on the ground. Our grassroots folks are really putting in the work, and they actually have their ear to the ground, quite frankly. Yeah,
they got their ear to the ground as well as they boots on the ground too. You know what I'm saying? All the way around. And we know that these grassroots organizations are effective and can do the work. Because once again, we got the receipts to show this. Let me share something with you that was brought to my attention yesterday from the Washtenaw County Health Department. At the height of the pandemic during the past winter months, and I'm paraphrasing a lot of this, but the receipts, I keep on telling you, I got the receipts. I just don't be talking. You get what I mean? At the height during this past the pandemic, the Washtenaw County Health Department realized that the numbers had dropped almost immediately in certain locations within the 197, 198 area code and zip code, excuse me. And they realized that they didn't understand, they couldn't figure out how did they sharply drop in these two areas in communities who were affected the most, who are racially classified as Black, and they dropped in those areas sharply on this particular date. And what they found out was a grassroots organization that I'm a member of who got involved directly and made sure that the resources got directly into the hands of the people. And we got them directly into the hands of the people. They can mark on their graph data, and you can see it dropped from that point right there. Wow. Yeah. Now this ain't me. Yeah, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. And I talked to a member of the health department, like I said yesterday, and I didn't know this. I just found this out yesterday, right? So the point I'm getting at, if grassroots organizations can do something because of the relationship with people in the community, if they can do this on a national level, let me say on a global level, to help to reduce the numbers dealing with coronavirus, imagine what they could do when they're given the resources to help out dealing with violence. Right. And that's why I'm glad that we have persons such as yourself who are from this community, okay, who understands this community and best can advocate for it because you had that empathy. So the difference between empathy and sympathy are not synonymous, synonyms, excuse me, right? Let me get some water right here, right? So that's why I'm glad that, like I said, today, I endorse you. Now, if Robin ever decides to come on to the show and share something, when Marsha comes on the show, I may have changed your heart. But right now, you can make it. You do have the right. I got the right to change. Right. Yeah, it's your vote. It's my vote. You get what I'm saying? And because it is my vote, as an individual, that's why you can't ban me into the go along, get along game. Right. See, the go along, get along game been riding around here for too long. And that's all they do is go along and get along. And then you find out, I ain't gonna get in there. You find out when you follow them, you find out that their interests no longer line up, or if they ever did, with this community right here.
Right.
So
I think that's another reason you can look at certain folks that are running for offices, and you look at the folks that are supporting them, and you can kind of do a little quick analysis.
You do, yeah.
Oh, these people supporting only this little group of folks, but these type of people. And then this person, they got all these community members supporting them and organizations. And you can do a little math real quick.
Yeah, don't take no same rocket science. Right.
Right. That's why endorse, those folks that are supporting different candidates does matter. As a piece of your decision making. Who's supporting who? Okay.
Yeah.
Where is this person from? There's another little notch. That shouldn't be everything where you from, but that's another little notch. Okay, they from here. Okay, you got these people supporting them, and okay, what do they believe? This platform. Okay, and then you adding it up, and then you can get to the point in which I think this is the best candidate that I should be supporting. So
okay, if we can change gears, brother trustee, not candidate, we can change gears a little bit, right? Now, we have constitutional rights, Second Amendment, okay? The right to bear arms. That's a constitutional amendment, okay? I don't know of not one gun. I'm just gonna say this. This is my personal opinion, okay? I'm ex-military. Let me just say, let me go that right there, right?
Okay.
I spent 6 years in the military. I fired every weapon from literally from a pistol, actually to a bazooka. Okay. So I'm and in those weapons, I'm proficient. Matter of fact, check my military record, you found that I'm expert in all of those.
Oh,
okay, right? There ain't no joke. I got the receipts. The word of the day is got to show the receipt.
Right.
Don't come talking to me. Show me the receipts.
Right.
You get what I'm saying, right? Remember Judge Wapner and Judge Judy?
Oh,
Judge Judy, you can come on Judge Judy's show, talk all you want. She say, show me the receipt. That's who we are today. Anyway, show the receipt. Anyway, so the township on the new shooting range and gun store. Now I put myself out there first, right? But of all my experience and handling of working with firearms, I don't know one gun that has shot anybody without human intervention first. Picking up, let me just say this. I don't know of a pistol that has shot anybody unless somebody had the pistol and shot somebody.
Right.
Okay. So your wife just said, I love that. Show me the receipts. Come on out there, all right? So you got chili now. We got one person out there, right? So the township has voted, and I don't know the exact thing. So you clear, you go ahead and do it. But there's some folks over on this side of the street who don't want the gun range and the gun store to open, right? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that the township and the trustees voted unanimously to have this gun range.
It was a couple of votes that took place. First time it was unanimous. The final vote was one no vote.
Okay, it was one no vote.
I was the one no vote on the final vote, on the final tally.
Okay, now I'm a Second Amendment guy. You feel what I'm saying? Believe in the right to bear arms. So you voted against the gun store and you voted against the shooting range. Let's hear it from you.
Yeah. So when they first made a presentation to us,
okay,
they really promoted it as a gun range.
Okay.
We knew that there would be some gun sales. I asked some questions about what types of guns, what types of firearms, and I didn't hear anything about some of the large, automatics, and which would be problematic. They also talked about background checks on how they do a more extensive background check. I also didn't have all the information. They didn't disclose all the information to us until some of our community members started doing a little more digging into this particular company. They said that the facility was safe. They got all these cameras. They didn't never have no incidents at none of their other facilities. Come to find out, they had all kinds of other incidents at some of their other facilities, people breaking in. Even with all the security they have, people still were breaking in, getting ammunition, getting firearms out of there, which means it's back into the community illegally. And this is what's going to perpetuate some of this gun violence. So at first presentation, I said, okay, this sounds safe. They sound like they're doing extensive background checks where they go far beyond the 3-day waiting period. Because right now, current federal laws, you got to wait 3 days for the FBI background check. If FBI check is not back yet, I can release this firearm to you in 3 days.
If it's not back?
If it's not back, they can actually release it anyway.
Don't sound right.
It's not right.
Okay, all right.
And this is what a big push is going on that level, as well as the state level. But however, this company says we actually wait. It's in writing that they wait till the full FBI background check comes back. If you check out, then that's when we sell it to you. So I thought that was something that they technically didn't have to do because it's federal law that they didn't have to do it. So I found that to be a good incentive that they were doing that. However, in that period of time from the first vote to the final vote, talking to a lot of community members and getting their perspective on, look, this is not going, all firearms are sold legally at first, but then they end up getting into the community. The more access you have of firearms in your community, you can look at the data, it tends to start to increase gun violence even more. And so after that, along with doing some more research on some of these other facilities being broken into, at the end of the day, like I always tell people, the people are my boss. The folks that voted me in.
I like that. Okay.
The folks that voted me in are my boss.
Okay.
If it's an overwhelming amount of support in whatever direction, that's the route I need to be going as an elected official. I shouldn't just stay stuck on, this is good for you here, just take it. Here, y'all don't know no better, just take it. You can't do that.
Right.
It's okay to be able to change your position and say, you know what, I talked to the people and this is not what they want. And that was a specific case where I was on one side and I said, okay, this sounds legit. They're gonna be safe. They're doing background checks. We already have a spike in violence. Clearly it's not because of this location because it's not here yet. However, talking to the people, they said, this is not what we want. This is not the time for it. And so I voted against it. And I started to push back and make sure I made my voice known. And I don't think this is the route we need to be going because this company has been lying to us this whole process. So that was kind of the gist of the gun range that is in Ypsi Township.
Thank you for sharing that. Because I put that self out there first. Because number one, as I stand right here, I didn't know that you voted against it sitting right here until you brought that to my thing. Like I said, I'm a firm believer in the constitutional rights, Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. So your stance, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't that you're anti-Second Amendment,
right?
Anti-gun order.
Right. Your
concern first was the safety, the sanity, and the health of your community,
correct,
your constituency.
Right.
I can roll, I can get down with that. You get what I'm saying? I can accept that. In particular, when you say that these people misrepresented themselves and they're not demonstrating that they can create a safe environment for the community.
Right.
Now I can get down with that, right? Okay. I'm saying, okay, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, hey, the people up underneath the Second Amendment have a right to get arms. So I didn't particularly agree with the township stance. But now when you bring a lot more light to it, I can get down with not only what you're saying, but understanding why the community and those who had done their research and the homework on this particular organization didn't want them setting up camp there.
Right.
Okay. Right. All right. We can roll with that. We're coming up close time, brother, to sign off. I want to thank you once again for taking this late call. And still, like I said, the table is open. The table is open. You get what I mean? I'm just telling you straight up now. Yeah,
it's always open.
The table's always open. And if you can't come during this time, this kind of look like I'm set up here. This set up for another time. You get what I mean? But what have you? But Ear to the Ground 197 is supported by and with the help of the League of Women Voters in particularly Trudy and Jeff Hughes. And they created these, as I shared earlier, these empowerment cards that I have right here. You need an empowerment card, and these empowerment cards tell you who your elected officials are, where you can get services in your particular community, and who are also your administrative persons right now. So I'm looking to see, Jimmy, come election time in November, August, however they roll, seeing your name on this today. Unless you change my mind in the next couple of days. Or these other folks, tables open to them.
Yeah.
They can come up here and share with me something better than why I should vote for them. We're gonna be fair in this democracy. You get what I mean? But you my man's today.
Appreciate it.
You get what I mean? Unless somebody can come up here and say they got right now, y'all got to do a whole bunch of doggone advocating and demonstrating and proof. As I just said, show me some receipts to get my vote. So we're brought to you by the League of Women Voters. Their responsibility as an organization is to provide information. Also brought to you by Ipsy Can I Share, like I said, in collaboration with Ear to the Ground 197. Even though that we work together, the views and opinions is this person's only. I don't have to report to nobody else. You get what I mean? There's 3 principles to this program that we have. Number 1, take care of the facility that's owned by Mr. Steve Pierce, my good friend. Number 2, no child pornography on this show. And number 3, and this is the one I'm wrestling with, right, is no calling out, no cancel culture. We don't do the cancel culture thing. You get what I'm saying? So as I look at it more, cancel culture is something totally different. That's when you just, I just get on this show and I just start ragging on you because I'm trying to bring harm to you as an individual. That's cancel culture. You get what I'm saying? To get from out of there, as opposed to calling out, and that is to let the persons know what this person is or are not doing. But my principle, like I said, is because I know some of the things that affect our community as a people, that I try my best not to go after individuals. You get what I'm saying? I just try my best, but I don't think that's going to last too much longer. Ear to the Ground 197 is brought to you by Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center, owned by my good friends, Carlos and Andrea Franklin, along with my main man, Kip Johnson, and his lovely queen, the songstress, Athena Johnson. Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center is located right across the street from Ypsilanti Public Library on West Michigan Avenue in beautiful downtown Ypsilanti, our hometown, right? Okay. And go up there and get all your book reads and everything, stuff like that. My nephew, Aaron Foley, he wrote a book called Sitting Over There, right? On gentrification and what have you. He wrote a book, but he wrote another book. It just came out. It's down there at Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center. It's called Boys Come First. I haven't read that one yet, but the name of the book is called Boys Come First. And Carlos had texted me early in the week to show them that they had them on the shelves. So my nephew, noted author, Aaron Foley, you can find his book down there at Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center, located in downtown Ypsilanti on West Michigan Avenue. Also, my number 1 supporter and sponsor, Vita, what's happening? I see you out there standing in for sis. I forgot to give you a shout out this morning. That's Vita Hesterly, my sister right there. She cooked me and JB, the boss of the hot sauce, a hell of a meal about 3 weeks ago. And she laid it out for us. So she's standing in for Tracy. What reason why she's standing in for Tracy? Tracy's at the hospital right now with a family member who has some issues that they're dealing with right now. So we ask that you give some prayers, some positive energy, some affirmations out to Tracy and my good friend, that they come through what they're working with. But Tracy Sweet Touch Production, Tracy has uniquely created gifts for any occasion. You can find her on YouTube, Passionately Intrigued Arts. You can find her on Instagram at Tracy Sweet Touch Production, TikTok at Estella Fabulous, Pinterest at Miss Tracy E. Davis, email at dallasdakota@gmail.com, and Facebook at Tracy E. Davis. And that's why I kind of felt some kind of way that my guest didn't show up today, because Tracy Sweet Touch Production, she makes uniquely gifts for individuals. And the reason why you don't have on Good Brothers is because you're dealing with hospital issue, and you already been on the show. You already been on the show.
I got a gift from
you. Got a gift from him anyway,
her.
right? Okay, right. So, like I said, we kind of started late, but I'm trying to respect our people's time, brother. I'd like for you to have the opportunity to summarize and share with the people whatever thoughts or something that you need to hear before we sign off the air. I'm gonna turn it over to you, good brother.
Yeah, I'll just say that if you want to learn more about me, I gave my contact info at the beginning of the show, but you can also go to the website, jimmywilsonjr.com. You can kind of look at my platform, a little bit about my background and history of my skilled trades involvement, where I grew up here in this community, and some of the issues I want to make sure I address, which is, specifically around housing, some of the affordable housing issues, education funding into our public schools, making sure we get more skilled trades back into our schools, and mental health, like we talked about earlier, making sure we have more funding into the mental health, community mental health, so we can have more access to that no stigma mental health. And there's a whole plethora of issues that are going to take place on a statewide issue, whether we're talking about voting rights, civil rights, and women's reproductive rights. There's going to be a whole lot of issues, environmental issues, making sure we got clean water coming into our houses, a whole plethora of issues. But at the end of the day, I'm accessible. I'm willing to have a conversation with anybody about any particular topic, no matter what side of the fence you're on that particular topic. We can have that discussion. Before I introduce any language, any legislation, or vote on any legislation, I'm gonna make sure I'm talking to the people here in Ypsilanti in this 48197, 48198, before I do any of that, to make sure that, am I on the right side? Is this what my boss wants? Because again, the people are my boss. And so is this what they want? So I'm gonna be accessible. Plus I'm gonna be able to hit the ground running when I get to Lansing, already having come from local government and being able to really be acclimated pretty quickly, and partnering with folks like you mentioned, our state senator, and making sure we're partnering for the better good of this community. So at the end of the day, feel free to contact me if you got more questions and concerns. August 2nd is the election. If you want to go to the polls, or you can get your absentee ballot a little earlier, somewhere around the end of June, you can request absentee. You can actually request your absentee ballot now, and they'll be sending out at the end of June for voting. So at the end of the day, I think that I'm the best candidate out of these 6 folks that are in there.
You're the best today. You're the best today now. Okay.
Right.
Until they tell me something otherwise.
Right.
But you can't, but you can't tell me you're gonna come on the show and then change your mind because you decide to go somewhere else. That ain't a good look.
And don't reschedule.
But
at the end of the day, I think I'm the best choice because I'm going to, not only have I demonstrated being active in my community, but I'm vowing to continue that activity and not just going to Lansing and staying up there and you'll never see me.
We're gonna leave that alone.
We're gonna leave it alone.
We're gonna leave it alone. Yeah, right.
But yes, Jimmy Wilson Jr. for state representative, representing this 48197, 48198.
Yeah. Before we go off the air, I did say that I was going to share some information and make it be known on this show, right? But you triggered me when you said skilled trades.
Okay.
As people both know, that he and I are electricians as a profession. That's what we do. And you know about the Supreme Builders Academy, right? And I've been in communication. We've been in communication with the skilled trades unions. Every skilled trades union has agreed to come in and support our community. So y'all be prepared for a qualified, certified skilled trades program in our community. Also, be prepared in the next coming weeks. We have Blake Corum, that running back from the University of Michigan, when we have a football camp on the south side of Ypsilanti. Yeah, so we you know, you know about that one, right? I didn't tell you about that one, right? So we're gonna be doing that. So you've been hearing right now from the people's employee.
Right.
The people's employee.
Exactly.
I like that because I had shared that with some younger people about 5 or 6 years ago at Park Ridge Community, said that these people work for you. And so many times, hey, Janice Thompson, what's going on? That's one of our school board trustees on there chiming in. I have been telling people a long time, I don't know where these folks got this twisted, that you dictate to us what's going on. No, what you do is you come sit down in the community and we ask us some questions, or better yet, we ask you some questions, and then we tell you what we want. I don't give a damn if you don't agree with it. This is a democracy, and we elected you in to be our boss. So I don't want to hear nothing about what they ain't gonna do. Go tell them. Go tell them this is what your community wants. And then if they say no, then you come back and then we go deal with the people at hand. But don't be timid and scared and say, I can't go up there and talk to them. They might say no. Nigga, let me say, oh, let me get up off the thing. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, it's a show, right? I'm just saying, excuse me, I done heard me slip. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get past it, you gotta pass it, right? Yeah. You go tell the people what we want. Don't come back here no more telling us what they gonna do and what they want from us. That's not how this thing works. We gotta flip it back around. Ear to the ground, 197. We signing out, and we're gonna back here again next week. Same time. Well, we might be a little later because we got a meeting to go to next week. So anyway, ear to the ground, 197. We'll be back here probably about 12 o'clock. We're going to sign out with this because, as we've been saying right here, power to the people, all power to the people. It's